Hello, everybody. It's International DAF Day. How are you?
Trevor, what are you celebrating with in your cup there? Is that a latte? Is that a cappuccino? What you got there?
Just like a little some espresso with a shot of cream.
Okay, all right. I was going to say
It's
a
only
mushroom
11
coffee,
here.
knowing you.
Yeah, it's only what's that now?
I was asking if it was a mushroom coffee.
Oh yeah.
Sounds like
No.
something you would drink.
Oh yeah, no. I do those mushroom tinctures for my immunity and what have you.
There you
And
go.
lion's mane for my brain. I
Mhm.
love that stuff. We're getting totally off topic. Hey, what's up? It's the DAF Guru. What's up?
Hello, sorry, I was on another webinar, if you can believe
we
it,
knew
here
you.
for DAF Day. So
Well,
running a little
happy
late.
DAF
You're
Day.
busy, man. That's why we're just tickled that you're here with us. Hey, as Sandy mentioned, and Rhino, will you put Mitch's LinkedIn profile up? And thank you so much. Thanks for putting up your LinkedIn. Love it. Everybody, put your LinkedIn profile up so y'all can connect with each other, like Sandy said. I know you're all mentioning where you're from and all that good stuff, but just another nudge and encouragement. There's some really cool connections that are being made just in the chat the last few weeks. Make sure to grab Mitch's LinkedIn profile, show him some love, some support, ask him a ton of questions. Sorry, Mitch. Ask him a ton of questions after this episode because, like I said, I was speaking from my own, just my own experience. Mitch, it's like, it's off the beaten path for me, like talking about AI. This is not our day-to-day stuff, but it's expanding our breadth of knowledge in such a nice way. And I was telling everybody that we had a great conversation on the pod recently. And just happy that you're here and able to share with everybody again, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Excited.
Right on. Cool. Hey, Sandy, you want to get us kicked off a little bit?
Sure.
And then we'll intro Mitch and get going.
Absolutely. I am Sandy Hilsenrath. I'm here at HGA on the advancement team, and we are here to help nonprofits raise money with the most profitable auction items in fundraising. So, Ryan, if you would just throw up our website in case everybody wants, anybody wants to go and check us out and look at the travel experiences that we have to help you out and raise lots of money. I mean, we just had an event raise $75,000 last week. That was work, right? It was insane. So we're here to help you on that end. But let's go and then talk about some DAF.
I love it. Like I said, hey, it's International DAF Day, everybody. So raise a glass. Mitch is pulling overtime today. So like I said, so tickled to have the DAF Guru. Mitch and I met at a conference recently, at the Raise conference a few weeks ago, and he's been so gracious with his time and kind of like pushing the charge, so to speak. And I want, we're going to get in the nitty gritty with like, the dollars that are behind this type of giving potential and what have you, Mitch. We had a fascinating conversation. So we got some cool questions for you, for the audience. But just so tickled the DAF Guru is here. Mitch, thanks so much for taking the time. If you can explain what you do better than we can and a little bit about Chariot and the significance of the day and all that good stuff, if you don't mind, brother.
For sure. So nice to see everybody, meet everybody. As Trevor mentioned, please ask lots of questions. Happy to answer any and all of them. I am the head of strategy at Chariot. We are the donor advised fund payments company. So we're probably best known for our tool DAF Pay, which is an express checkout style payment option. So using your DAF like you would Apple Pay, Google Pay, your credit card right on a donation form. So this has really unlocked a tremendous amount of DAF giving in all those instances where people are most inspired to give. There's a lot of evidence that even if people have a donor advised fund where they've set funds aside specifically for charitable giving, it's the only thing it can be used for, and yet they'll still opt to use a credit card when they're at the live event and there's a call for gifts or their friends running a marathon or it's a giving day for their school. They just want to do it quick and be a part of the thing. And so we really bridge that gap so that people can use their DAF anywhere and everywhere that's eligible and that they're inspired to give. I also personally spend a lot of my time in this role doing education sessions like this, lots of workshops, trainings. I feel like I'm at a conference just about every week leading some type of session and working with our clients to make sure they're succeeding both with their tools around DAF giving and also their strategies. And then I also led our original research on the DAF space, the DAF fundraising report that we can talk more about today, analyzing billions of dollars in nonprofit fundraising around DAFs. and started DAF Day, which is October 9th, as you mentioned. So we're over here at Chariot watching the gifts stream in across the country, and are just seeing thousands and thousands of nonprofits take advantage of this holiday for DAF giving to promote, educate, and boost giving across the board.
You all invented the International DAF Day?
I know, I caught that too.
Yeah, we started that about a little over a year ago. So,
that's cool.
Man.
But when people think it's existed for a long time, it was a really good idea, because it's like, oh, that should have existed all along.
Well, I really want to just double click on, I hope everyone understands how important it is that we have Mitch on today. Now, I don't know if we can book you for next year in advance. I think it'd be awesome. But hey,
an annual DAF Day.
You're leading a movement, man. So I think that's awesome. And congrats to you and the entire team. That's fantastic. I've gotten to know Chariot better. And can I ask you a quick favor, Mitch? Can you put up a link to DAF Pay?
DAF Pay?
Pardon me. The platform that you shared with me. Sorry.
Yeah. No, it's hard because DAF Pay and DAF Day sound very similar.
Yes, pardon me. Yeah. So no, and this is something that you're really you mentioned just now, just in the intro. I'm kind of coloring outside the lines a little bit with like our timeline or whatever. But no, I want you to explain to folks. You said it's kind of as easy as Apple Pay. So yeah, so give folks, and if they want to click on it, just so they have a frame of reference. Mitch just put the link in for DAF Pay, but explain it to me, or explain it to the audience like you explained it to me in San Antonio, Mitch, about just how simple it is, if you like.
Yeah, so it is if anyone's ever used Apple Pay or Google Pay, and it's very intuitive for anyone that's using a donor advised fund. They click there, they select their provider. So if they use Fidelity Charitable or Schwab Charitable or Daffy or any of over 1,000 different DAF providers, they click, they log in through the modal so that they've logged into their account. We show them the key details to submit their grant request. They submit that through there, so they never have to leave your website or donation form. It's much faster than needing to go to the portal, look up the organization, answer a bunch of extra questions. And the nonprofit, importantly, knows the gift was made, first of all, because otherwise they have no idea. Someone's made a gift with DAF. You have no idea when it happens. And you get their name and email instantly. So you're able to record the gift correctly to the right donor. You're able to thank them right away. And so it's just really a game changer for that whole experience of raising more funds, better donor experience, able to steward the donor better for the relationship in the long term.
Mitch, can you just take it back a step? And so just in case anybody stumbled into this webinar unknowing what we were talking about today, what is a donor advised fund?
Yeah, it's funny. I was just on a conversation earlier where someone said that they didn't know how to spell DAF. So I appreciated that in terms of their familiarity with the tool. It is a charitable savings account, tax advantaged account for giving. It's a lot like a 401k is to your retirement or an HSA is to your healthcare expenses, where you can contribute funds or assets into this account. You get the tax write-off up front. It's invested in the market, and then you make grants out of that account over time. Importantly, though, it is irrevocable, so you cannot take anything back out of a DAF once it's in, and it's very restricted use to only be for grants to eligible nonprofit organizations for an eligible purpose. So you can't buy an auction item with a DAF, but you can make all kinds of general donations to nearly the requirement for eligibility is if you're a 501c3 or kind of equivalent organization, so churches, synagogues, that type of thing.
Okay. All right, great.
Yeah,
so not silent auction items or auction items, but a sponsorship? Would that be under that umbrella?
Yeah.
Well? Okay.
So the main restriction is you can't get personal benefit from using your DAF.
Okay.
So it's similar to like tax deductibility of other types of giving, or if it's a purchase, that's how I was thinking that you can't use your DAF. But there's obviously lots of giving that happens at events that's not specifically for something in return.
Fund a need, all of those things. Yes.
We're gonna get into that for sure. Yeah. No question. You mentioned some, just for folks while we're on this education piece, Mitch, you mentioned some big, big name brands like Fidelity, and you also mentioned Daphne and what have you.
Schwab.
Talk to
Mhm.
folks just once again from a 30,000 foot view, what that means. You do a great job of framing it and just making sure folks understand it's like your 401k. But if you want to just go just a little bit deeper with how it came about, things like that.
Yeah. So it is, you can use or create a DAF at any one of over 1,150 providers. The most common in terms of number of different providers is actually community foundations. So just about any and every community foundation also hosts a DAF program. But they tend to be a little bit smaller relative to the major financial institutions that have a DAF program that they partner with, like Fidelity Charitable, Vanguard Charitable, et cetera. And then there's also many that are religiously affiliated for specific faith, the National Christian Foundation, the Jewish Communal Fund, et cetera. And then many large nonprofits actually host their own DAF accounts too. Stanford University has a large DAF. The Nature Conservancy has a DAF. And then I would say there's one more category that's more like just tech forward, like consumer first DAFs. So Daffy is one that we use. GoFundMe actually just launched their own DAF product called GoFundMe Giving Funds.
Okay.
So it's really being democratized out in the world. I think the traditional reason that a lot of people used a DAF was for the tax benefits, especially if you were a very wealthy person. You can really start to strategize, like take this appreciated stock in our portfolio and put it in there, and donating enough that you'd be itemizing donations on your tax return, which 90+% of people aren't, because the minimum standard deduction is like $30,000 for a couple now. So it's a pretty high threshold. But for folks using a DAF, if they're contributing more than that, or they have like lumpy earnings, so they have a big bonus in one year, maybe they sell a business or a house, then they can make a larger contribution into their DAF account, capture the full tax benefit, and then do more typical annual grant making in subsequent years. And so I'd say that's like historically the main reason people use DAFs. I think today, as all the tools and technology around them have gotten better, I just hear from people are like, oh my God, I've got one place to do my giving. They like have these memories of rifling through their emails and credit card statements at the end of the year, trying to figure out like what were all the things we gave to. And here they've got one place to do it. Yeah. But I think the other thing that people find out after using their DAF is that it really helps them give more, because it's a forcing function to say, I'm going to make a contribution for all of my giving this year. Oh, how much do I want to give this year? And actually make a plan. And like any part of your life, if you set goals or make a plan or take that step, you are so much more likely to follow through with it. And since it's invested in the account, your like capacity is growing as well over time. And once you've done the hard part of setting that money aside and you can't touch it anymore, every incremental gift opportunity is easier. It's like having a gift card, right? So, I've already got, it's like your fund money. I feel that way whenever someone asks me to donate something. I'm like, I've got it. Like I've got my gift card back here for this exact purpose. And I end up giving much more.
I love it. You said something super, super interesting on our podcast about making sure you are ready to accept. We can get into like identifying, folks that have DAF accounts and giving potential. But you said something about just like your simple organizational website and how easy it can be, and then having a dedicated page and the EIN ramifications and all those things. Will you just explain like a just step by step or like some bullet points for the audience to understand what they need to be doing if they're thinking about accepting DAF gifts, and how easy it can be if they integrate it to their website and things like that. And we can talk about, different software, platforms accepting payments as well.
Yeah, it's a spectrum. I mean, first of all, I would just say, because sometimes I hear from folks who are like, oh, I don't know if we're ready for DAF giving. I don't know if we're ready for that. Yeah. It's not up to you. People are going to give that way if they want to. And so you can either make it harder for them or make it easier, So I just think that that's just another kind of myth or outdated thing that people think it's their choice. It's not. You can either be behind the ball and make it harder for your donors, or you can make it easier. So I see Brittany said exactly much. So she's probably had this conversation with people inside of her organization. And so, yeah, it's totally a spectrum. And that's what I think is great is there's something that literally anyone can do today to make this better. So first and foremost is your EIN on your website. I can't tell you how many nonprofit sites I go to and I can't find their EIN. If you should run this test for yourself, go to your organization's website right now. Put yourself in the donor's shoes. How long would it take you to find your EIN? And if it's more than 10 seconds, you probably just lost a DAF gift, because DAF donors, if they are going to their portal and looking you up, let's say your organization's name is Hope House. There's at least 87 organizations registered with the IRS with those two words in them. And so how they're like, oh, I need their EIN to confirm. And then they're trying to find it. And if they can't find it, they're going to forget it. I'll just give a credit card gift.
Yep.
I've seen them in website footers, right? Is that the best place to put them?
That's my favorite place because I think it's the easiest to go to. At a minimum, you should have in other places too. Your About Us. But then I would say next in like the spectrum is having a section of your website specifically for DAFs. Like if you already have a ways to give section or ways to support or whatever, having a blurb around DAFs, a dedicated page to DAFs where you can put your legal name and your EIN, that's also helpful. One of our clients is the ACLU, and they have a long list of things on their ways to give page. And they recently, ahead of DAF Day, were like, can we please like put DAFs at the top? And their web team was like, oh, that makes sense. People click on that way more than anything else. It's like, so I guess that'd be my next suggestion is if you have multiple things on your ways to give page, like put DAFs higher. And if you want to know why, check what people are clicking on, like look at your analytics. And then I think at the end of that spectrum is like, there's tools to make it really easy for people to give with their DAF right on your website or right on your donation form. And that's exactly what Chariot does. And so if that's of interest, if you're like, we're ready to go big, then certainly check out ways you can access DAF Pay. The easiest thing, we have dozens of fundraising platforms that we already partner with so that you don't need to do the work, where they've integrated DAF Pay as a payment option right by like PayPal, Venmo, credit card. And if you use one of them, it's purely just making sure it's on and turned on. And if not, I would recommend asking for it from your provider. That's certainly the best way to get them to take that action.
Does that all that make sense, everybody? I hope. It sounds so simple, but it's going to be so huge. Any questions? I'll call for questions while we have Mitch right now. In between questions for him, I wanted to ask you, Mitch, best ways that folks can identify DAF givers, frankly, or questions that organizations can be asking at board meetings, committee meetings, volunteers, whatever it might be, just so folks can just understand. And there's just a giant pool. It's a big blue ocean of DAF giving potential. Where would you advise some folks to start, at least just having this conversation, for instance, if they haven't done it before?
Yeah. I mean, the number one question I always get from people is, how do I find more DAF donors? I think maybe not the answer you're looking for, but the truth
I get it.
is that you already have them, and that is way more productive use of your time, is just making it easier and more apparent to your existing donors to use their DAF, because there's been a ton of research done by Chariot and others on how often people with a donor advised fund still make a credit card gift. And the reason it matters is because when they do use their DAF, this is one of the pieces of analysis we did for the DAF fundraising report, is that when someone switches the way they give from a DAF to from a credit card to using their DAF, that the average change in 2024 in their gift size to the same organization from one year to the next was 10x. The median was 2x. So over half the time when they make that switch, they're going to more than double their support. Obviously, there's some huge outliers, which are very valuable. Been many, many instances of a $100 donor making a $50K gift once they use their DAF. So I think that is the opportunity, is put it in front of your existing supporters. Now, how do you do that? I think it's a combination of three key things. One is do an audit of your language, your website, your appeals, your emails. You're at an event, what's the person saying up on the dais. Make sure that they are calling out and mentioning donor advised funds. People always say to me, I'll always have a snarky person in the chat or in the audience who's like, well, don't they know they have a DAF? Like, why is it our responsibility? Because they're human beings.
Yeah, you need to be
People,
reminded. Hello.
you need to be
Yeah.
reminded of stuff, even
Yeah.
when even when you have the best of intentions.
Right.
So it's like a bit of a language audit to, and don't be afraid. You're not putting it in too many places. You're not putting it in front of the wrong audience. Anyone could have a DAF. In our study, analyzing over 400,000 DAF donations over 5 years across 32 organizations, 69% of those gifts were under $1,000. So it's not just coming from major donors. It's not only major gifts, it's everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you're not alienating anyone. If someone doesn't have a DAF, they're learning. Cool. And it's not a problem.
They want to get in the program. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You're actually providing something valuable to them. You're educating them. So just don't be shy about it. So that's first is kind of like language and doing a bit of an audit. I think next is looking at the actual donor experience. So some of those things we talked about, again, baseline is like more information. I think even better if you can make it an integrated part of their giving experience. Also better for your organization because you know right away, because that leads to the third part, which is the data. Like, how are you tracking DAF gifts? How are you stewarding those donors? Are you thanking them? Do you have a little bit of a different flow for someone who gives with the DAF? How are you recording that in your database consistently? There's just a lot of people that still don't always know, hey, this gift came from the community foundation, but it's actually from an individual person that we need to thank.
Yeah, you mentioned that when we had our last conversation, Mitch. Can you go a little bit deeper in that, and just like the tools and tricks that folks can use to make sure they're identifying where these gifts are coming from and what they might be missing if they're getting these gifts and they don't know how, that they absolutely, of course, have to reach out to these people and thank them, number one?
Yeah, I mean, that's the starting point. A lot of people will gripe about the limited data, which can be true, and I'll get to that in a second. But I think the first step is when you do get the data or the information, make sure your whole team knows, like, who does your gift processing and gift entry. If it's a caterer that you're using, or if it's a new person, like, you need to have really consistent business rules, because a lot of folks, especially if they're not super familiar with the dynamics, again, they'll see gift from the Arizona Community Foundation. All right. All they put in there is the Arizona Community Foundation, but actually it was from Trevor Nelson, who has an account there. And so that's the first most important thing, is that there's like rules around how to record this, and that the next action is to make sure you do your best to thank and engage that person as soon as possible. Next, like, if you don't get a specific name or you don't have a specific way to contact them, do a little bit of research, because sometimes the fund name might be like the Nelson Fund. So you need to, do a little bit more research on who that might be. If it's from a community foundation, you can often reach out and thank them. But you shouldn't really waste your time doing that for Fidelity and John. It's just very unlikely that they're going to get back to you. Often though, like, anyone will pass along a thank you if there's not like a way to thank them directly. But even more productive is just have like a standing meeting or some kind of like a Slack channel or a Teams channel that's like missing gifts or missing information or lost gifts or something. And that you can pop in and say, hey, we got this 10,000. Was anyone expecting a gift from someone that might be affiliated with the Nelson Fund? And then you might have another teammate that's like, oh yeah, I talked to Trevor last week. That's it. So yeah, share the responsibility, communicate.
Yes. Yeah. So good. Okay, cool. You hit me with some really big numbers on our last conversation as well, just about the amount of growth in DAF funds over the last number of years. And then you also parallel that with like how giving somewhat, and I'm just using loose, like somewhat stagnant, like still obviously billions and billions, but not growing substantially at the same rate that DAF investment is. Can you, just talk about those numbers just so folks can really understand the opportunity a little bit?
Yeah, it is a really incredible change in philanthropy, a space that doesn't change much or change very quickly. So in the last 10 years, the size of DAF accounts has grown 10x. So it's now over 250.
10 years, is that what you said?
Sorry. 10 years, 5x.
Okay.
So it is now $250 billion in donor advised funds. That's as of the end of 2023. So we should be getting like the 2024 aggregate numbers by about a month from now. My guess is it's over 300 billion, just based on how much activity happened at the end of last year. But that's like just the size and scale of this opportunity. And I think a lot of people will also look at that and be like, oh, there's so much money like locked away in DAFs. That's not the right way to think about this, because the locked away, or like, the problem is the trillions of dollars that haven't been put in a DAF account.
Right?
Like
these will be. Yes.
Because these are committed and reserved for giving. So you've taken that big step forward, psychologically speaking, and that's the only thing to be used for. So that's why you see that payout rates from these accounts are like over 20% every year since they started tracking it. And so the grant making, at least in 2023, was about $55 billion from DAFs. And that has grown 6x in the last 10 years. So it's a really tremendous opportunity. And I think the right way to think about that growth is not to get too negative. I see so many people, every few months, there'll be some viral LinkedIn post that's like, there's $250 billion in DAFs. How horrifying is that? I'm like, we should be celebrating that.
Why would it be horrifying?
What would be the premise behind that statement, though, Mitch? Just like a misunderstanding. What I don't understand.
The DAF is taking that money away from nonprofits, because if they hadn't given it to a DAF, they would have had to donate it directly to a nonprofit to get the same tax benefit.
The money's spoken for when it's in a DAF. It's already spoken for. That's the point, right? And then, hey, I'm getting a little passionate about this, but is it because there's so many folks that are managing the money, like managing these portfolios and whatnot, that are advising their clients to put it in DAFs? Because I have a sneaking suspicion, like my gut tells me, that folks that have tremendous wealth and capacity are being told, advised, frankly, pardon the pun, to create a DAF and to pile money into it for a myriad of reasons.
I mean, it is. Definitely financial advisors are increasingly aware of this. I mean, still, like, that's another big thing, is just DAF awareness in the general public is still super low, even amongst wealthy people. And it's like, the stat I've always seen is that like fewer than 10% of financial advisors even offer DAFs as a part of their offering. So there's just, we're scratching the surface here. We're just at the very, very beginning of this wave. But that being said, there are certainly, especially this year with like tax codes changing, you have a lot of financial advisors that are saying like, hey, you can actually maximize, you'll get more benefit from a DAF contribution this year than next year. So give more, put more in now. But that's a benefit. Like, then the person's looking at the next time you solicit them to give, they've got $1 million in their DAF. They're going to be way more generous than if that was just sitting in their checking account.
Out of their wallet. Yeah.
Well, there's a couple holes in that argument, like you said, with the random LinkedIn post every now and again. No offense to whoever puts it out there, right? There's a couple holes in that argument. Number one is there's more money in the system than has ever been. The biggest transfer of money that's ever going to happen in human existence is going to happen over the next 15 years, and they estimate it's going to be 40 trillion. That's more zeros than anyone ever wants to take the time to even count. And also, I'm kind of like putting people's feet to the fire a little bit. That also means that you have to sharpen your pencil and be ready for it and start asking for it, and not, like you said, be a gatekeeper. Like, oh, I don't think we should. No, it's like you said. I love how you framed it. It's like, no, you don't get a choice. Right. It's their money. That's where they want to give it from. Why don't you just make it easy? It's like, this is like a giant exercise in like making giving frictionless. It sounds like to me. You know what I mean? Without speaking for you. Yeah.
No, please do. You're saying the right thing.
Well, I'm getting lost in the sauce, a little bit. It's International DAF Day. You know what I mean? So excited. Hey, any follow-up questions from the audience or anything like that? Sandy, if you have any questions, I kind of want to get into a couple. I want to do a couple poll questions, but I'm not jumping ahead of you. If you have anything specific that's top of mind.
I mean, from an events perspective, right? What can that messaging sound like event day, from the podium or what have you? I mean, what could that sound like? Or is it more of a subtle in your materials and such.
We're talking about like
recommend?
auditing language, Mitch, and I love
Yeah.
how you understand our audience, and you mentioned that at an event particularly. I mean, yeah, speak to that, please.
Yeah, so if you have any kind of script for your CEO or executive director, or even like, so I've been to many events where an auctioneer is doing the like paddle raise for general giving. So inform the auctioneer to say something about DAF giving. Again, if it's not an actual auction item, but it's just a general fund to need or a paddle raise. So he's just making sure that language says, and remember, you can use your donor advised fund for this. You could say DAF or donor advised fund. Like small call outs like that go a long way. And then I think if you have any kind of like signage on the tables, and oftentimes they'll have little like pamphlets or little QR codes. We've seen people have a lot of success with QR codes up on the big screen, and you might have one for a general donation and one for using your donor advised fund. We had a client in Dallas that did this for a luncheon, and they ended up getting like 400 gifts in the room, like text to give, and then 6 through donor advised funds. And the 6 DAF gifts made up 40% of their fundraising.
Wow.
And three out of those 6 donors were first-time donors, like a friend that someone brought to the event. But because they would have made that $50 gift via text, but because they used their DAF, it was $5,000.
Yeah. Now, how long does it take to get set up? Because what my head is like, oh, Giving Tuesday. Giving Tuesday is coming up. How can people get set up before, if they're not set up at all? How could they get set up to accept them for Giving Tuesday?
Yeah, I mean, the easiest thing to do is to check your fundraising platform if they have it available, because then it's just a matter of turning that on. I mean, everyone can claim their Chariot account. That's free. And then if you want to have DAF pay and any of those, even like GoFundMe or crowdfunding pages or anything like that, it's all accessible, and you can see all the gift details in your Chariot account. We also do like if you would have a subscription to Chariot or sign up in that dashboard to just create your account, you'll have access to it's like a snippet of HTML code that you literally like copy paste into your website builder, and you'll see the button there. So it's when you say time for Giving Tuesday, it takes about 5 minutes.
Okay. So you can get set up before Giving Tuesday. We have some time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I want to backtrack just a little bit. Ryan had a poll question, and it's a 2-parter, everybody. Take a second if you don't mind. Rhino, first question, and I believe it's, do you have an in-person event? Right? And I'm not running the poll, but Rhino will. And then also, I have a follow-up to that as well. And then I want to hit you with a couple, just like I said, I like to color outside the lines a little bit, Mitch. I just want to kind of get some feedback from you on like, if you're planning one, have one. And then when that one's done, I want to see if folks, if they are set up to accept DAF gifts as well. And what we'll also do is reach out once again and follow up. And then Mitch, if you have any collateral or anything, I mean, we can share the Chariot site, all that good stuff, but we're going to follow up with folks with the recording. Have you considered it, or can you, of course? So do us a favor, folks, and answer those questions if you don't mind. And that way we can get some information over to you so you can get set up, or just give you the encouragement or nudge to make sure that you're utilizing everything that's out there, of course. So I think it's great. Yeah, if the fundraising report is something we can just share as a link, Mitch, or something like that, we'll put that in the show notes, and we'll also if you want to put it in the chat, if it's that easy, fine. And then we'll also put it in the recording that we send out to the whole audience as well tomorrow, if you don't mind. Yeah,
so there's the report.
If we're not too hungover from International DAF Day.
if your partying gets out of.
Yeah.
How do you celebrate?
I was gonna say, hey, well, if we don't mind getting personal, how are you all celebrating at the Chariot
drafts for DAF?
At the Chariot offices, are y'all going kind of crazy?
We have a party this evening, a reception. I wouldn't quite call it a party, but we're having some of our DAF and nonprofit partners locally here in New York City get together, just in our offices. But we've got balloons and streamers and confetti and this a
Cool.
photo wall. So yeah, we'll be having fun.
Good, good.
Nice.
Well, y'all should be proud of it, man. It's really, really cool. Like I said, I didn't know that you all invented it. I should have known better because y'all are crazy. I should have known. It just seemed like a big deal to me. I'm like, oh, international, holy smokes, who came up with this? Like someone in like the UAE, like some wizard came up with the idea, or something like, okay, cool, this is awesome. But no, I should have known. So congrats. It's really cool because you're starting a movement. I want to also tell folks like just like real wide lens. It's like, hey, it's okay to be early to something. The market's telling us something. Like I said, I'm not putting words in your mouth. I'm just kind of like just sitting back as a bystander, just learning and being a student of this. Like I mentioned this about like our friend Nathan, who, it wrote, nonprofit AI, like fundraising.ai, inventor. He's like, hey, if people find out that your organization, isn't using AI, at some point that's going to turn them off. He's like, it's like telling potential donors and givers that you don't use the internet. He's like, that wouldn't make any sense.
Right.
So like, it's okay to be early and be like, hey, we're ahead of the program here. We are accepting DAF gifts. It's the same thing to me. And it's like there's 0 degrees of separation between you and the money. Like it just seems completely asinine not to be forward thinking and first. Speaking, like we've talked about how easy it can be. Mitch, speak to conversation you've had with very, very small shops where it's like a shop of 1 or 2. And you mentioned like the website and the EIN. Is there anything else like psychologically where folks are like, I don't know if folks are ready? And like you said, it doesn't really matter if you feel that way or not, or like maybe even a success story of someone who like, I did it. Like, oh my gosh, there's only 2 of us here and we got that payment. Oh my goodness. Or we got that gift. Like share anything that you care to share about that.
Yeah, I mean, the conference we were just at together a month ago in San Antonio, someone in my session like raised their hand
Yeah.
and they were like, we're at a small school in Wisconsin and I was at your session last year when you were talking about DAF Day and I really wanted us to send an email out about it and our board didn't want us to, and I went ahead and did it anyway. And
I asked for forgiveness later. Yeah.
and we got 7 gifts for $15,000, and those were all like first time DAF donors to us.
Wow.
And that was just like amazing. And the funny thing is like that I have no way of knowing that that happens, right? That's like
Right.
she wasn't using DAF Pay. It was just like she sent an email and gotten those gifts offline.
Right.
So it's cool. And in my mind, I know whatever volume we see here that's moving through DAF Pay, there's like 10 times as much that's happening just because people are talking about it and speaking to it more directly.
I think that it just lends itself to a larger conversation of just our space needs to be served in this way and needs to be nudged and encouraged and not told not to. It's just because the opportunity's there, and if you just throw it out there, of course, I'm not a big fan of throwing a bunch of stuff on the wall, so to speak, but like being intentional and being at small school in Wisconsin and getting new people to give $15,000, like that's wild to me. Like who wouldn't want that? Good stuff. I appreciate everybody answering the poll questions and all that good stuff, and we'll reach out with some pertinent information in follow up. I mentioned I wanted to cross the lines a little bit. Any creative? You said I love the idea of having signage at events, and just like and. It's a long play. So you get 6 people at your luncheon in Dallas to give at the first one. Well, next year it's going to be more. And the following year it's going to be more. And, how do these things, like one of these questions I was really waiting, and we can get to like planned giving and legacy giving and all that stuff. What have you seen or any creative stuff that you've seen folks do to tie it to like, has anyone ever tied this to like monthly giving? Is that a silly question to ask? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, in I think pretty much every DAF portal, you can select a monthly giving option. And Schwab, I think it was DAF Giving 360 in their annual report even published how much of their giving was recurring. I think it was like 30%. It's like very high.
Yeah.
So it definitely
it just makes sense, right? It lends itself to something like monthly giving.
Mm-hmm.
I thought so. I thought there's a beautiful marriage. Have you ever met Dave Rayleigh, Mitch?
I don't think so.
I want to introduce you to Dave Rayleigh because he's, sustainable giving and the subscription economy, and is such a huge proponent of recurring giving and what that means. I think there's an obvious marriage actually to the ease in giving with DAFs and tying that into monthly or recurring giving. I think there's something. Do you have any opinions about that? I mean, you said Schwab put out that report, so that the market's kind of telling us something, and folks kind of like that cycle or cadence, if you will. And they obviously give more. So, when they do give from their DAF, talk about that, or any thoughts or any opinions that you have, or anything that, is just kind of like percolating over time in your head about it.
Yeah, I mean, again, back to the point of just talking about DAF giving everywhere. If you have something about monthly giving, you should also mention DAFs there. It's a pretty, as long as it's eligible, that's where you should be talking about it. I mean, you can also use DAF Pay for monthly giving to initiate a recurring gift. I think the biggest challenge is that when a recurring gift is set up through a credit card, a lot of organizations have like a whole program where they know the day it's coming in, they confirm it, they send that monthly email about their recurring giving their monthly giving program. With DAFs, they like arrive in all different ways, and it's not on a predictable timetable. So it can be hard to like credit those gifts to the like sustainer program that you might be managing internally. So I think that's usually the opportunity for improvement, is to like make sure the DAF gifts from someone is recurring, is still entering your data flow for how you track and engage with monthly giving.
Yeah. Okay. That totally makes sense.
Hey, Brian, thanks for putting up this poll. So the results of the poll are 70% of our attendees are currently planning an in-person event. Okay.
That's awesome.
But only 33% of our attendees are actually accepting DAF payments, or, or putting out a push for DAF payments at their events. So that's very interesting. And that just means that there's a lot of opportunity.
Love it.
And we hope that you take all the knowledge that you got today and put it into play at your next event. Yeah.
Know where to go, but up. That's how I look at it. That's awesome. Good stuff. Good. Hey, but that's still encouraging on both sides that folks are doing it, and there's some folks that can be. So,
right.
I love it from a glass half full perspective. No question at all. You want to talk about legacy giving and in that regard, and this, what you've seen, Mitch, what the data shows you, and things of that nature. And once again, we can bleed into the big transfer of wealth, and I mean, obviously, I'm kind of speculating, but a tremendous amount of that wealth is going to be transferred into donor advised funds. But what it means and what you all are seeing, and how folks can prepare for legacy giving from a DAF perspective.
Yeah, I think DAFs should be a part of any legacy giving conversation for sure. It's a significant part of how a lot of people are handling their philanthropy. I also think there's a lot of room for education. Many people don't realize that they need to or can name a successor or beneficiary to their DAF account. So most DAF providers, or many, I guess I should say, don't actually make that a requirement. And if you don't proactively name someone or another nonprofit, they just assume those funds if you were to pass away. Because they are a nonprofit, right? That's holding and sponsoring the funds, even though the nonprofit is Fidelity Charitable, or fill in the blank, whatever that DAF provider is. So yes, informing people to make sure they've checked, hey, did you know that you can name a beneficiary to your DAF account? And that's also true if they've named a successor, they've named their spouse or a child, but they can also name a beneficiary. And I think that's a common angle for planned giving conversations. A lot of people don't necessarily trust that their kids are going to have all the same passions or causes that they prioritize. And so it's like, hey, leave some for your kid, but you also want to make sure that there's some amount that's going to this cause you're really proud of, or that you really prioritize. So I think it's never wrong to bring up like, hey, did you know you could name a beneficiary to your DAF, and also that could be us.
Yeah, totally. And obviously it can be more than one organization.
Yeah, I don't know if there's like a limit at some But yeah, many successors, many beneficiaries.
Yeah. So I'm just bringing that up just so folks don't have any trepidation about having the conversation. You know what I mean? And the naming and all that stuff. Yeah, I think it's good. Yeah, very, very good. We'll once again, more questions while we have Mitch, everybody, if you have any, or
success stories. Drop your success stories in there as well.
I think what's interesting about conversations like this, I think when folks don't have a ton of questions, I think that they're taking a lot of notes. There's like a cadence. There's sometimes we can't get to all the questions, Mitch, and there's some where it's like we get none and a little bit of feedback, and it's fantastic. And I think it's because it's not a lot. There's just a tremendous opportunity there, right? So I think that folks are taking a lot of notes and all that good stuff, and I think it's very, very positive in that regard. So appreciate it. Ryan will put up in a second. He'll put up the text. We got to give something away, Mitch. We do that every week. So yeah. We got to give something away. But hey, Mitch, anything that folks can take away in closing, anything that you've learned, anything, like I said, that's percolating, anything of value that we might have not have touched on, that folks can take away from this conversation?
I mean, I think it's just, especially since it sounds like a majority of folks aren't maybe doing something so proactively right now around donor-advised fund giving and their fundraising or at their events, is just find one thing that works for you. I think one of the best things a fundraiser can do is to open up your own DAF account. Like see it firsthand, and that way in any of your donor conversations that you can actually speak to it from experience, and it's not so intimidating or scary, and you can speak to exactly why you use it, how it works, what the experience is like. So I would say that'd be my biggest piece of advice to people, and that there's so many like easy options. Again, it's not just for wealthy people. The most common DAF providers have zero minimum balance requirement. I mean, I can even, if folks are interested, I use a tool called Daffy for my DAF.
That's the one you shared with me. Yeah.
Yes. And I can share a,
thank you,
just like a promo code if anyone wants to set up an easy, like mobile first DAF. And then you also get
How do you become a member of Chariot, Belinda?
How do you become a Chariot member? Well, I think you're a member just by being here right now, Belinda, for sure. But yeah,
you're in the club.
Give Belinda some steps on how she can hook up with y'all at Chariot as well, Mitch.
Yeah, anyone can claim their account with us. Belinda, I just put the link in there again, so you can check that out. It is any 501c3 in the United States, like eligible DAF recipient organizations domestically, is just the limitation. But otherwise, yeah, you can get started there. There's no cost to claim your account.
Awesome. Love that. Great question, Belinda. Thank you. That's fantastic. Hey, everybody. Ryan put up the text HGA to the number 73747, and we're going to call somebody and give away something cool that you can use at your next event. What do you want to give away today, Sandy?
Oh, me?
Sorry.
Do I get to?
Mitch is giving away knowledge today.
That's right. Well, let's see. We gave away a Caribbean all-inclusive last week, right?
I have an idea, but go ahead.
Oh, no, go, please.
No, I asked you a question. I want to answer it for you. Go ahead. What were you thinking?
Oh gosh.
Well, think about it. It's a party. It's a party today because it's International DAF Day.
So a party. So what do we want to do?
I don't know. Well, I was thinking like bourbon.
Ooh, Kentucky bourbon.
I was thinking bourbon. Yeah, I was thinking I'm not drinking bourbon or anything like that, but I was thinking like, why don't we give away a Kentucky bourbon package?
Sure, let's do it.
If you're in agreement with that, I think we should.
Yeah,
International
absolutely.
DAF Day party. So I'm going to call somebody right now. Make sure your ringers are on, and we're going to give away a Kentucky bourbon experience to whoever answers first.
And then we'll coach you. So part of that, right, is someone from our team is going to reach out to you, and we're going to coach you on how to raise a ton of money with the Kentucky bourbon. So,
cool.
Yeah. 3 days in Lexington, and it's going to be fabulous.
Mitch, you sign off on that? Because it's International DAF Day. Do you sign off on that? Yeah.
I approve.
Mitch, do
Yeah,
you want to go to
okay. Fine.
Kentucky to
All right,
drink
all right.
bourbon?
All right, here I go. I'm calling. This is fun for me.
Hello.
Hello, good afternoon. Who am I speaking with?
This is Kaylee Foreman from Holston Human Capital Development.
Hey, Kaylee, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Well, thanks so much for coming to the webinar. I appreciate that. I just wanted to call you and let you know, hey, Mitch and Sandy wanted me to give you a Kentucky bourbon experience that you can use at your next fundraising event.
That would be awesome. Thank you.
All right, cool. Is this your first webinar with us?
Yeah.
It is? No way. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Well, far out. Well, do me a favor, Kaylee. Will you connect with Mitch on LinkedIn if you don't mind and tell him thank you and show him some love if you're not already connected?
Yeah.
All right, awesome. Hey, congratulations on winning the Kentucky experience. It's really cool. It's for 2 people, and there's some bourbon involved and some tours and all sorts of fun stuff. It's kind of like a party in Kentucky.
And a driver. Don't worry.
Yeah. Oh, and you get a driver. Yeah.
I'll reach out. I'll connect with Mitch and reach out to him.
Okay, cool. Oh no, our team's going to reach out to you. Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
But I want you to connect with Mitch as a favor to me to tell him thank you.
Yes.
All right.
I will.
Well, thanks a ton for coming. I appreciate you coming to your first HGA webinar. Thank you so much. Hope you got some value out of it. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much it was a great webinar. So.
All right. Thanks a ton. Okay, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Have a great afternoon, okay?
You too.
All right, bye now. Well, that's fun.
That is
Fun. Yeah, it's
really
sometimes I know the folks, sometimes I don't know the folks, Mitch, so it's fun. Yeah. Hey, Mitch, I know it's a really, really busy day for you. We can't thank you enough for taking the time. I really, really appreciate you being so generous with your time and with the information, being such a positive force for this. It's really, really cool, man. Appreciate you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Great
Yeah.
to meet you, Sandy, and appreciate y'all having me.
She's in your neck of the woods too. You all should get together and have lunch.
Oh, Mitch, where are you?
In New York City.
Oh, okay, great. I'm in New Jersey. Yeah.
Amazing.
I'm in Central Jersey, and there's a debate on whether Central Jersey really exists, but I'm here.
Nice.
Love it.
Well, hey,
That's awesome.
make that happen. Hey, Mitch, Thank you so much. Everybody that came today, thank you so much. Everybody watching as a recording, do us a favor, like we said, show Mitch some support and thank him on LinkedIn and give a shout out to Chariot as well, if you don't mind. Really, really appreciate everybody coming today. And thank you, Sandy, as well.
Yeah, absolutely. All
Super
right, Mitch.
fun. All right.
Thanks, everybody.
Happy International DAF Day, everybody. Have a great Thursday. See ya.